So I want to use this comment to talk about why I believe it's such a common practice for women to defend their partners and the red flags that are apparent in their partners instead of taking heed to those red flags and leaving early on. Because this goes beyond whether or not the partner's abusive. The partner could be ain't shit, and we will still have women who will defend their partner before they listen to those red flags. So let's talk about why. Let's take the scenario out of domestic violence, and let's just talk about women in heterosexual, especially relationships in general. When you have a patriarchal society where the majority of men are either subpar or harmful, there is an immense amount of pressure on women who date men to choose that exception to the rule. There is an insane amount of pressure on women to have vetted in their best interest and to have chosen the guy that defies all the odds. And I don't think we address that pressure enough. And to be honest, a lot of that pressure is not only inflicted by men, but it is also inflicted by each other.
I mean, in a sense, she is right, because that kind of pressure, in a sense, that's how society is. It's not just men, it's also the opposite gender, because we've put it in ourselves that, in a sense, you have to accomplish certain things at a certain age. Especially some women, they have to get married before they hit the age of 30. So they realize that pressure of like, oh, in my 20s, I can do whatever I want, but by the time I'm getting close to 30, I need to find someone and settle down. Usually in the vicinity where you're dating, the dating market, a pool, like she said, you're finding an exception. If one guy is a little bit of an exception compared to the rest of the sleaze bag, you might end up settling with that guy because he is the lesser of the evil. Fellas, listen, it can be the same thing for us too. So do not get upset. This is a learning moment for us right here, which in the sense that I agree with her, in the sense that she is absolutely right about that. I've seen it. I've seen people settle down with the wrong type of person, and next thing you know, boom, they didn't work out. Or in the sense that you get married super young, and but in 5 years, it's not the same partner that you got married to. 10 years is definitely not the same partner. As you get older, you grow, you mature more and do stuff. But this is why I advise dating for a bit longer, because in the sense of it, you get to find out who your partner is. Maybe somebody is good enough to hide it for a year or two or so, whatever, how long it takes to be engaged with somebody, how long your dating market is. Maybe that person is really good at hiding it, but at the same time, you got to understand there will be signs, there will be some cracks. You just got to dog and weave and just kind of get that little punch in. Once you see that red flag, it's the time for you to get out. And a lot of women tend to not to do that because, oh my God, it's just a one-time thing. Keep making excuses for themselves while the partner, you literally see in your partner, all the red flags that you can see in the world, it's just plastered everywhere. Red, 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 red. But yet, that's the type of relationship that person knows, saying, worried about saying, if I leave this person, would I even find somebody even remotely close to him? Not understanding that is still a red flag. Just get out, and by God, you will find somebody better because you understand what to look for and you learn from that experience.
We hold each other to a very high standard to be able to choose the right guy for us. And if we don't, let's keep it a bean. There is a lot of shame and judgment in our choice of choosing incorrectly. Don't get me wrong, because I understand why the pressure exists. When it comes to who women choose romantically as men goes, you choose the wrong man, you can end up unalived. So the pressure is naturally going to be high. However, I think that socially, we add extra pressure by being hella judgmental and hella critical of women who don't choose properly. The minute women find out that the man a woman chose is not a good man, here comes the judgment. Let's be real. Here comes the, oh, you didn't vet enough. Here comes the, well, you should have left sooner. Here comes the harsh criticisms of what she did wrong, with very little criticism of him, of his behaviors.
Yep.
But there is this really strong pressure within our own community of women to choose right. And if you don't, baby, that's your fault. So, keeping that pressure, keeping that judgment, and keeping that shame in mind, a lot of women navigate their dating lives in a defensive way off rip.
She's absolutely right about that, and she's spot on about that. And in a sense, women, you guys hold all the power in the sense of who you choose to date, lay down with, marriage, and whatever. That power is in your hand. And yes, you do have to be careful if you pick the wrong one. That can happen if you literally can lose your life in the end of the game, because if you didn't pick the right partner. Vice versa with men too. There are a lot of men that get unalived by their partner, their wives, their spouse. It happens a lot more frequently also. And that's why passion of crime exists. That's a thing. So if you are going to pick somebody, make sure you're picking somebody that's at least stable in the mindset, that's not going to off you when you sleep. I'm just saying, fellas, man. Like, make sure your partner likes you for you. Like, seriously. If you're not doing that, I don't know. It's just another little safety precaution. But she's absolutely correct about that. Like, 100%.
Think about how prevalent the phrase, "don't have me looking stupid out here," is for women to use towards men. Who are we looking stupid to? Based off of his actions, usually each other. Also keep in mind that who we choose in romantic partners can, not always, but can say a lot about where our character, our values, and our morals lie. And because your choice in partner can be a reflection of your character, your values, and your morals, that's a very vulnerable action that is publicly being seen, which can lead to extra defensiveness when people who see it don't like what they see. So with all that being said, you as a woman begin dating a guy. You think that he has a lot of great qualities and some not so good qualities, but you're willing to overlook it because, hey, we're all human. We all have pros and cons.
Yeah.
Right? Here come your friends who are well-intended, but they're saying, girl, he's got some red flags. He's doing this, he's doing that. I don't know how I feel about him, girl. No matter how well-intended you are as the friend trying to make your friend aware of the red flags you see, there is a high chance of your friend receiving that or feeling that shame, that judgment, and that criticism that we women do to each other socially. Because
listen, it's not just you guys. I promise it's not just women. Men faces the same thing. There's so many times we as men also literally warned our friends about a certain women or someone they're seeing and they ignore it. And she's absolutely correct. That does happen. Sometimes your friends are in the best judgment of character because at that time they don't have no string attached to that person. They know that person through you. And that's it. That person, you introduce that person to them. So at that moment, they don't know anything about them. They don't have no string attached to them. They only know that's the person your friends pick. Your friend decided to pick. With that said, if that friend tells you, hey, here's some red flag, this is not going well, and this is not how it's supposed to be, you fucking listen. All right, you listen to that and you put it in your head and look at your partner and be like, oh, I get it now. And you should always strive to do that because sometimes friends can be jealous at the same time, but the same kind of red flag that you say you can put it in the back of your eye, and your friends they bring it up saying, no, girl, that's a red flag. Listen to that.
While you may be saying that you see red flags in him, what she may be hearing and receiving is, I think you made a bad choice in who you allowed in your space. And in this society, one of the worst things you can do as a woman is to make a bad choice in who you choose to allow in your space romantically. That is one of the worst things you can do. And that is a reality that a lot of women do not want to face in the moment of making said choice. Now, I've described all of this outside of the scope of abuse. Let's add that bitch in, okay? Now, imagine all I said whilst being with an abusive man who is actively manipulating you and who is following up any kind of red flags with an overproduction of good behavior, completely throwing your judgment out of whack. Your friends coming to you and saying, hey, I see these red flags, it's a little fishy. All you're seeing is the overproduction of the good behavior that follows said red flag. So in your mind, hey, he's human.
I have seen that because someone does something and then literally do a bunch of good stuff because they feel so bad about what they just did. Try to bury that underneath, and then you forgive them. Once you forgive them and you forgot about it, they come right back and do the same thing again. This is how they're testing the water and what they can get away with. A lot of us tend to not pick up on those, and by the time you do, it's way too late, and all of a sudden now it's I didn't ever see this coming. I didn't know this was gonna happen. It was too late.
We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. So I don't want to hear what you got to say, because he's apologized, he's taken me on a trip, he's bought me this, he's done that for me. So we're good over here. So in conclusion, between the man's abusive, manipulative behaviors and the social pressure that women apply on each other and men for us to choose the right guy, the perfect guy, the one who is different from all the rest, it's really easy to understand why women don't listen to red flags or ignore those signs early on. That desire to have chosen right, combined with the inconsistency of manipulation and abuse, is a recipe for disaster. And
I mean, she's absolutely correct about that. It can be for both gender. It doesn't matter, especially when it comes to a lot of women. The guy will gaslight you, definitely take you on trips, buy you more things, and take you out on dinners, try to buy you new clothes, maybe a jewelry, and try to let you forget about certain things here and there, whatever they're doing. And that is smokescreen. They're trying to smoke it out of you and just like fog it out on you. Be careful of those type of people. Be careful of who you try to attract or who you are around, and who you share your space with. She's absolutely right. And unfortunately, there's been a lot of abusive relationships, and a lot of women tend to ignore. And this is not in the 1900s anymore. Don't ignore shit. You have the power to do what you have to do. If someone is abusive towards you in a relationship, leave. Doesn't matter what gender it is, just leave, right? Protect yourself, protect your peace, and just choose you at all time. If someone is doing that, choose you, because at the end of the day, you live for yourself, and that's it. You only have one life. Use it and cherish it, and use it quietly to your benefits. All right, that's just it. Let me know what you guys think about this video. If this woman is correct or not, or is it just talking smoke? Let me know, because I want to see what you guys thoughts and process about it. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.